Welcome to a Victim Bites Back special. I've returned to the United Kingdom. Last time I was at Glastonbury. It was pouring with rain. I stepped out of my car and the mud went over my ankles. I sat back in my car, took my shoes and socks off and drove back to London barefoot. The weather's much better this year. I came on the Eurostar where the food was so revolting that I said to the steward who gave me the three choices, "They all look repellent." He scowled at me. I don't think I was a very popular customer. Glastonbury this year was very disappointing. The older artists were all far too old, same age as me, 80, and were either frail with weak voices, and look at those arthritic moves by Rod Stewart, who is the same age as me, 80. And the new artists like Lewis Capaldi were awful. Lewis got lots of sympathy because of his health problems, but none at all because of his musical problems. All his songs were repetitions of melodic lines and awful depressing lyrics. I found all the new artists did not have proper songs. Now that may be because I'm an old fart and I like the old songs, but I found it deeply depressing that the new songs really were not songs at all. The weather has been odd in the UK, either a heat wave or pouring rain, which is why I'm naked or wearing a scarf. I've been tipped off some weeks ago that the girl playing Evita, Rachel Ziegler her name is, was absolutely superb, so I thought I'd better go along and have a look at Evita. I'd never seen the show before, despite both Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber being old friends of mine. It was at the Palladium, and it is a sensational show, and she is absolutely brilliant. But I have to say, theatres made years ago were for seats of people of normal backsides. Something very odd has happened over the last few years. People's backsides have swelled out of all proportion. It is now so uncomfortable sitting in any theatre where the seats were designed years ago, as people with enormous backsides sit next to you. It is just incredibly uncomfortable. People don't realise the fact, and in fact I don't even think Tim Rice knows, that when Tim Rice fell out with Andrew Lloyd Webber, Andrew approached me to write the lyrics for one of his new projects. It was for Starlight Express, all about trains. "Thank you very much, Andrew," I said, and declined politely. "A musical about trains. It'll never catch on." More fool me. Anyway, Evita is terrific and well worth seeing. London is changing radically. This enormous piece of something hanging over my head as I walk down my street, looking quite precarious and dangerous. They are building everywhere. You can't go down any street, and certainly not drive down any street, without seeing it being blocked off. Something very odd is going on. I suppose they could call it gentrifying the city. I'm not keen myself, and I have to say I felt it was positively dangerous. It's been a great Wimbledon, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I have to say I don't really like three-set tennis. I think tennis needs to have three S's, and that's strength, strategy and stamina. And three-set tennis very rarely has stamina. That's one reason why I don't like women's tennis, and indeed the women's final was one of the worst I've ever seen. Then Novak Djokovic, who I'd love to win 25 because I'm a big fan of his, played the worst match I've ever seen him play, but eventually the final was pretty good. It was nowhere near as good as the brilliant French Open final, which was probably the best tennis match I've ever seen in my life. But it was great, and I was so glad that Jannik Sinner won, because I've been a huge fan of his for about 3 or 4 years now, ever since Berrettini won for the Italians in Wimbledon. Well, it's a heat wave in Great Britain, and I hate to leave the country when there's a heat wave because there's nothing nicer than driving around in baby car with the roof off and the sun shining in, and you're nice and cool because of all the breeze, and it's gorgeous. But at the moment what I have to do is get baby car clean. The useless Keir Starmer and Macron's ideas for stopping the small boats just put on legal ferries twice a week with secure arrival points. Enjoy my English food, a full English breakfast, and when it's sunny, cold meats and a potato salad. I've had to be promoting my new book, which is available on Amazon, Animal Farm: The Next Chapter. And I celebrated the Bean's birthday. My new book, 80, that's all, folks. The final chapter of my autobiography comes out soon and is dedicated to the Bean and 50 years of blissful happiness. See you next time around for A Victim Bites Back.